Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. Katrina here, and I'm really excited to share this Valentine's Day inspired hoop earring. These heart-shaped hoops are just so cute, and they are super simple and easy to make. After creating the hoop itself, I will show you a little tip on how to add a charm or a bead onto the earring. Now let's jump into creating these heart hoops. Depending on which size of wire fits in your ear best, you can use either the 20 gauge or a larger 18 gauge wire. The larger gauge wire is going to be sturdier, so that is my preference to use for these earrings. Next up, we have a fingernail file as well as a ruler, and then we have a ring mandrel. I'm using a 3/4 inch ring mandrel, which is a size 10 ring. For our pliers, we have chain nose pliers, we have a set of needle nose pliers, then we have our wire cutters, as well as nylon jaw pliers. To begin creating our earrings, we're going to pull out a length of our 20 gauge or 18 gauge wire. Using our nylon jaw pliers, we are going to straighten out a length of wire. Then placing the wire onto our ruler, we are going to measure out 6 inches. Holding the wire at that measurement, we are going to cut it off with our wire cutters. Then let's go ahead and straighten out a length of wire for our second piece of wire for the second heart. Placing it on the ruler at 6 inches, we're going to cut it off as well. With 2 pieces of wire cut to length, we are then going to grab our file and smooth down both ends of each wire. Now we can begin actually creating and shaping the heart. Placing the wire onto the pliers about an inch or an inch and a quarter out from the center of the ring mandrel, we're going to wrap the long end of wire around the mandrel to create a U shape. Once we have created this U shape, we are now going to use our needle nose pliers to create a loop at what will be the center of the heart. Bringing the long end of the wire up and around to create a loop at the center of the heart. Once we have created this loop in the wire, we are then going to place the wire back onto the ring mandrel and create the second half of the heart. Holding on the top of the heart, we are going to pull it gently apart to tighten down that loop a little bit. Now you can see that we have one end of wire that is longer than the other, and this is on purpose. We are going to take our needle nose pliers and place the wire into the pliers and begin spiraling it upward towards the heart to create a loop in the wire, which will become the closure of our hoop. You can create this loop at any size depending on where you place it into the jaw of your pliers. I made this loop a little bigger than I wish I had when I created this video. So when I go back to make these earrings, I will be making it smaller in diameter than I did here. After creating that spiral, we are then going to go in with our hands and gently shape the heart so that it is symmetrical. As we are doing this, we can see that the spiral is still too far out and doesn't meet up with the other end of the heart. We're going to go back in with our needle nose pliers and continue spiraling that end up until it matches and meets with the other end of the heart. Continue bending and adjusting the heart until you are happy with its shape. Now that we have created and finished the first heart hoop, we can use it as a pattern to create the second one. Measuring the length of the wire on the heart, we can then wrap it around our ring mandrel and begin shaping the heart and using our first heart again as a pattern to make sure that they end up the same size. This is very useful when we are measuring the initial side and then marking where we need to bend the loop at the center of the heart. Placing the wire into the needle nose pliers, we're going to bend that long end of wire up and around to create that loop. After creating that loop, we are then going to place the wire onto the pliers to shape the second half of the earring. Now again, using the first heart as our pattern, we are going to shape this second heart so that the earrings are the same. Using the needle nose pliers to create that spiral and twisting the wire up towards the top of the earring until it meets with the other end of wire so that we can slip that wire inside of the spiral. Again, you can go back in with your hands or the pliers if you need to and adjust the shape of the hearts until it is to your liking. And now we have finished creating the heart hoops. Now if you want to add a little color or movement to the hoop earrings, here I'm going to show you how to add some charms. We are going to need 2 jump rings and, of course, 2 beads, and I would recommend using a 20 or 22 gauge wire, whichever size will fit the bead best. We're going to begin by threading one of our beads onto our wire. Then taking our needle nose pliers, we are going to place the very tip of the wire into the very tip of our pliers and create a tiny little loop, bending the wire back over itself to center the loop over the long end of the wire. And then drawing the bead up towards that loop, we're going to place the wire into our pliers and create a little gap above the bead. Readjusting our pliers, we're going to create a loop at the top of the bead. Bringing the long end of the wire around, we're then going to wrap it above the bead and underneath the loop to create a spiral and wrapping here. Once we have finished creating this wrapping, we'll cut off the excess wire with our wire cutters. Then using our needle nose pliers to hold the charm, we will use our chain nose pliers to press down the end of wire. Repeat all of these steps to create a second charm. Now that we have created our charms, we are going to take our chain nose pliers and open up one of our jump rings and add our charm, and then we are going to add the charm onto our hoop earring. This may be a little tricky as we are trying to place this into the center of the heart and there's not a lot of room to move with our pliers. But we can slide the jump ring around so that the ends are facing us so we can then press them together and close the jump ring with our pliers. If you have a pair of bent nose pliers, they would be very useful in this situation. Having added the first charm to the first heart hoop, we can go in and add the second charm onto the second earring. Opening the jump ring, adding the charm, and then adding the charm onto that loop in the center of the heart. Now that we have added the charms onto both of our heart hoops, we have finished the earrings. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed creating these simple Valentine's Day inspired heart hoops. If you would like to see more jewelry tutorials, be sure to go check out my channel and hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you are notified every time I bring a new tutorial to the channel. I'd appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment letting me know what you might like to see next. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.